Welcome to Notable Approvals. I am attorney Amanda Schaefer. I'm very excited to talk about our case today. I just got back from court and won my client Asylum, which is, if you've watched my videos before, you know my favorite thing to do. Before I get to, as part of my job, before I get to our case today, don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, anywhere you are watching, so that you don't miss any more of our lives. And if you find this video to be helpful or you know someone who may, please hit that share button to spread the useful information. So I'm very excited. Just got back. I scooted back from court. And I want to first and foremost congratulate my client. I'm very excited for him. He's been waiting a long time for this. He entered the U.S. in March of 2017, and he entered as a crewman, and he did go work on the cruise ship. He worked on the cruise ship for about 10 months, and then his contract with the cruise ship was over. And he had already came out and had problems back in Indonesia. So he knew he could not return back to Indonesia. So when he finished with his contract with the ship and he couldn't get a new one, he stayed in the US. He then came to us and he filed for asylum within 1 year. So that was no issue. And this is an interesting one. It doesn't happen too often. You do get people who come on these crewman visas. These are the ones that say C1/D. What's interesting about these is that the USCIS doesn't have jurisdiction over the case. What that means is that normally when you come into the US and you file what's called affirmative asylum, or you're filing before DHS puts you into deportation proceedings before you're detained or something like that, you always file the application with the USCIS. And in fact, you can't file it with the court unless you're in deportation proceedings or removal proceedings already. So we had to file it with the asylum office, but they couldn't call him in for an interview because they weren't allowed to make that. The law just says they can't make a decision on their case. So his case was immediately referred to the immigration court. Now I say immediately as in he didn't have an asylum interview. At the asylum office, he didn't waive it. They just could not interview him. It did take some time before he finally got put into court proceedings. But I'm making a big point of this because this is the first case I've ever had where the client didn't give any oral testimony and we won, which is really cool. And I think that it was right that this is how the case should have gone. Cases don't always go the way they should. So we had one master calendar hearing before COVID. That's the short hearing. If you've watched my videos before, I talk about two types of immigration hearings: a master hearing and an individual. You have to have at least one of each of those. And at the master hearing, we said we're going forward with the asylum application. They scheduled him for an individual hearing, and then COVID hit. And his case, it got rescheduled a bunch. It switched from jumped from judge to judge. The judge he had initially, I'm actually glad he didn't have in the end, but he would have gotten it granted regardless. Anyways, the point is that even though he didn't have an asylum interview, and he still had to wait to get referred to court, and then the pandemic. So now we're in 2023, and we finally get to go before the judge for a hearing. Now I had told him, look, you have a super strong case. You might not have to testify at all, but of course we always prepare our clients for full testimony for their whole claim, because even if you have the strongest claim in the world, the trial attorney for DHS may say, I'm not going to agree. I want this person to testify. And in this case, I've had them say to me before, well, there's testimony from the asylum office, that's a sworn testimony too. And if you were found credible by the asylum office, they don't have to go by that. Like, they could still make you restate your claim. But a lot of times that credibility determination is important. But when client has never testified, I thought, well, that might be why they make him go through his claim here. So we got to court, and the judge came in and said, "Do you want to? Did you speak to the trial attorney yet?" Oh, I lost myself. I guess this thing doesn't stop calls. I didn't put on Do Not Disturb. 1 second, because I'll get distracted. Okay. So the judge steps out. I talked to the trial attorney, and she's like, "Well, we read everything, and we're going to defer to the judge." And when DHS says internet didn't go out. Okay. Hopefully you could still hear me. I am not positive. If you can't, this will be on repeat. So anyways, there's no even if DHS agrees to the case, it's still up to the judge. And the judge, what was so interesting about this case also is the judge actually didn't question my client, questioned the government attorney, and basically said to the government attorney, "Do you agree that this person is a gay man?" Yes. Do you agree, or did you stipulate? Did you stipulate that he suffered past persecution? Yes. Do you agree, stipulate that if he returns to Indonesia, he will he has a well-founded fear of future persecution? Yes. And then what was the last thing? Do you stipulate that that the Indonesian government is unable or unwilling to control the private actors who harmed him? And they said yes. And then the judge went out. She's a newer judge, so she got all the law, came back and granted the case. Appeal was waived on both sides. Final decision, which is fantastic. So how did we do it? How did we win this case without any oral testimony? Again, I don't think I've ever had a case. I've had a case where my client has not had to testify at court because we documented the case so well. But I've never had an asylum case one where there wasn't either a credible fear interview or an interview at the asylum office. So this was a first, and really, really exciting because this client, there's really, again, no doubt that he should have been granted. And what was also interesting is that I submitted a lot of country. Well, I'll get to the evidence. Let's get to all the evidence right now because that's how we did it. Spoiler alert. We did it by submitting a really good record of evidence. The first and foremost was my client's detailed statement about what happened to him back in Indonesia. He had a relationship back home. And basically, when people found out that he was gay at the time, it wasn't technically illegal to be gay, but it was illegal gay marriage was illegal, and the anti-discrimination laws in Indonesia did not protect the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you, Lambert. Thank you for watching and for your kind words. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be criminalized. It's about persecution, not necessarily criminalized. If there's a law criminalizing it, it just makes it easier. You just point to the law. But in Indonesia, there's really not much of a doubt about how the LGBTQ plus community are treated, unfortunately. And on December whatever 2022, I think it was 9th 2022, Indonesia passed a new law that criminalized any sex between individuals who are not married. And the law was targeted at same-sex individuals, even though, yes, different sex individuals can also be charged under the law. It sprang from people starting to become more open about their sexuality, and then the really conservative religious majority in that country pushed back and got this law passed. They had been trying for years. So I actually submitted that article, and the judge didn't even, when she gave her decision, she said that there's no law criminalizing, and then being gay in Indonesia, but blah, 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 and read all the country conditions. And I actually corrected her at the end. I was like, just so the record is correct, it's not, there is a new law that was passed that essentially makes being gay illegal. You can't be seen, more or less. You can't have a gay relationship, basically. So the detailed statement was the first part of it, and really one of the most important parts of it. Client described the persecution he suffered back home, that he had been attacked, and then once he was attacked, he had to go into hiding. Indonesia is a big country, so he had to go away from where he was, so the people wouldn't find him again, because they said, if we see you again, we're going to kill you, basically. He was lucky that he was on a motorcycle so he could get away. And then he finished school, and he realized, I can't stay in this country and be a gay male. So I need to figure out how to get out of this country. So that's when he went to, I guess, some type of hospitality school, and eventually got a job on the cruise ship. And that was his ticket out. So he did, like I said, joined the cruise ship. And then when his contract was over, got off the cruise ship. He was supposed to depart and go home to Indonesia the next day. That's typical of crewmen. But instead, he stayed and filed for asylum. So besides his detailed statement, we did submit a bunch of country condition evidence. Again, I could have submitted just one piece of country condition evidence, the most important one, which is the Department of State, their country condition reports that they put out every year on Indonesia. We did submit that, but we submitted some more to show that not only does the law not protect people, and like the police harass people, you'll get arrested instead of your attackers if you report it, that type of thing. I showed how it was getting worse and worse, and then it turned out it ended up passing a new law. So we included that as well. That was what we submitted initially, along with the identity evidence. And then we supplemented the evidence. Thank you, Irfan, on Instagram. He says, thanks to you. You guys are amazing. You're amazing as well. I appreciate you watching. So the supplemental evidence submission I submitted about a month ago. And with that, I submitted basically, besides my client's statement, evidence he is a homosexual male, which if you go to the video, I think I filmed it in December of 2022. Oh, we got another. Tanya, thank you very much. Best ever. Thank you for watching and your support. In that one, I was a man from Ghana who is gay, and I ended up winning his asylum case, but he didn't have really any evidence to show he was gay, because you can't be gay in Ghana. It is illegal to be gay in Ghana. And then his hearing had only happened like a year after coming here, and he kind of just kept to himself, and the government gave us a really hard time, but we did end up winning that case. So in this one, I didn't have to worry about that, because my client is very involved in the LGBTQ plus community. We had several organizations that he volunteers at, he goes to, and they all wrote letters in support. And what I'm going to do is I have the names of all of these organizations and websites. So if anybody needs the organizations or knows someone who might need them, you'll be able to access them. I'm going to put in everywhere this is being streamed, I will put in the comment section all of the different organizations. Some of them one of them actually is specific to immigration and helping LGBTQ plus individuals who have immigration problems, but they do other stuff too. They help you with housing. They help you with all sorts of things. And same with these other foundations as well. Looking forward to it, Usman. So I will put up that information for you all. If anyone again needs anything, these organizations are fantastic, all of them. And we had plenty of pictures. I joked that I kept telling my client to stop bringing me evidence because they're not going to doubt his sexuality. He brought me a stack of photos and all of the different LGBTQ plus events, like every pride parade he's been to, everything he's done, and which is great. He's even like gave me I forgot some type of first aid thing he did, which is good moral character, which is great. But essentially, I said to him, I'm like, we don't need any more. You are golden, because I've been doing this long enough. I know when we have enough evidence. Never hurts to have more, except it hurts my time. But I would never not submit something if I felt there was any question in the world that the evidence was lacking. Clearly here it wasn't. So because we did such a good job with the evidence, the judge was able to make this decision on the record. Again, didn't ask my client any questions. That's my favorite type of hearing, because I've already done all my work. We of course prepared the client. He was ready to go, and he was excited, and I'm very excited for him because I know he's been waiting a very long time. So to wrap up, why the biggest thing I'm excited about with this case is that we won this case without my client having to open his mouth at all, whether it was with the asylum office, with a DHS credible fear interviews, or even in immigration court. And like I said, I've won a cancellation of removal case based on the papers before. I've won a couple, but I've never won an asylum case where the client has never testified, never given sworn testimony. So that was pretty exciting. So that is really all for now. Again, to my client, congratulations. I hope you're able to watch. He will be eligible for a green card a year from now. He can actually apply in 9 months from now. I know he's very excited about that. And then in 5 years from today, he will be eligible for his U.S. citizenship. And that's, a quick last note. Normally C1D, anyone who enters as a C1D, not everyone, it's actually very confusing, but if you enter as a crewman, we'll put it that way, you normally cannot get a green card. But I did verify today that you can get a green card if you entered as a crewman, if you're granted asylum. So his green card will be based on that. So we're very excited for him. That is all for now. Don't forget to like us and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you are watching. If you found this video to be helpful or know someone who may find it helpful, please hit that share button. And if you're interested in any of those organizations that I talked about, I will, as soon as I'm done and the videos load, I will go into that comments area and put those names of the organizations and the website so that you can check it out for yourself if you are so inclined to do so. So thank you all for watching. Happy Friday and have a good day.